a spell on you.
It's a booming global industry worth £2.5 billion a year.
'Cause you're mine.
Getting rich from our dreams of finding love.
You better stop the things you do.
We take you behind the computer screens of online dating and show you that not everything is quite what it seems.
It was all fake and under the pretense that it was real.
I actually think I got laughed at. How do you think it works?
Your most personal data, photographs, email addresses and your intimate desires are for sale on an industrial scale.
It's really just ripping people off and breaking their hearts.
I put a spell on you.
And we meet the man who sells false dating profiles wholesale.
Because you're mine.
These profiles are fake, Mr. Appleys.
Fake? No, all profiles is real.
Come and say hello. Been single for a couple of years now, so can certainly say I'm ready for a new relationship.
Spirited, ladylike, unique.
I'm looking forward to meeting somebody.
Will you be my significant
I'm
other?
a happy type of guy, happy in my own skin, and enjoy my life. Just missing that all-important female to share life's ups and downs with.
For dating, maybe long term, if you're really cute.
Clark's doing it. Jane's doing it. We're even told 6 million people in the UK are doing it. And thousands are finding happiness through online dating. These days, eyes meet across a crowded chat room.
First I head to the fridge, open a bottle of wine, and then I open up the laptop.
Once you get into your 30s, you find that a lot of your friends are married with kids. So it's a great way of meeting people.
You're not going out, it's a night in, so that's really where it begins.
There are an estimated 1,500 online dating sites in the UK alone, catering for any preference you could possibly dream up. It's boom time for the online matchmakers. But they've got to compete to get your money. We've looked at some of the tactics they use, and what we've found is far from romantic. So in the search for true love, we ask how truly genuine the online dating industry really is.
Want to find somebody special? Go to Cupid.com, where helping people meet the right people is all we do. Millions have signed up already and more.
One of the biggest online dating companies in the UK is Edinburgh-based Cupid plc.
So give it a try now. Sign up at Cupid.com and you'll meet somebody in no time.
John Isaacs was one of those who signed up to Cupid. He created a profile of himself, hoping to attract a new partner after his divorce. And in no time, women on the site seemed eager to chat.
If you just take a week, then I would get several hits every day.
In order to speak to them, he had to subscribe, so John paid up. But then, he says, something curious happened.
All of a sudden, the number of hits I experienced just dissolved.
The number of emails you got
Yes.
after subscribing?
After subscribing, just goes down a cliff. You know, as soon as your subscription lapsed, then hey-ho, all these people suddenly reappeared again, like mushrooms.
What makes you think that the company is behind this, as opposed to, I don't know, a scammer?
Well, it can't be random, can it? There's no way you can dress that up as not being something which is system-based.
John continually resubscribed to various Cupid sites over about 8 years, refusing to give up hope of meeting a new partner. Why did you keep going back for more?
That's purely be optimism, the thought that somebody actually out there was real.
John's emails may have evaporated after he'd paid, but the money hasn't dried up for Cupid. The Scottish company has become a global brand, with revenue last year reaching 81 million. More than triple the figure it earned in 2010. But the BBC has been contacted by many Cupid daters, complaining of disappearing messages and fake profiles. When Cupid were asked about it, they denied it, but said they'd hired a firm of auditors to investigate what was going on. We decided to do our own investigation and set up a profile on Cupid.com. Our profile was James, a 46-year-old man. We didn't give him any photographs or personal details. As we didn't want to string along genuine daters, we tested out those who seemed suspicious. Clark, one of our online daters, signed up too. Here's one here that says, "Looks like you're popular, James." Let's have a wee look. Our first message was from someone called Christine. We weren't actually looking for a relationship online. We just wanted to find out if Christine was real. Given all the concerns I've heard, I wonder if I can find out a little bit more about her, see if she's genuine. It was as easy as dragging her photo into Google, and in seconds we'd found her. When we contacted Christine, she told us she had a Cupid account, but she'd never sent an email to our profile. The message I'd got from Christine to entice me to pay wasn't real. Our profile was proving surprisingly popular. Apparently another perfect match for James was a woman called Kaz B. In fact, Kaz B is Karen Barkey. She's an actress and used to having multiple identities, but she says she's never created one on Cupid's website. You ready for this?
Indeed I am. How exciting.
Kaz B, you're 40.
I am, that's true, yes.
Okay. And you're a perfect match for a profile that we set up at the BBC.
Okay, that's very interesting.
Now, 5'6".
Pretty much 5'7".
Yeah. Vegetarian, strict vegetarian.
I haven't roast beef for my tea.
Yeah, okay, you're not a strict vegetarian. How do you enjoy easy listening?
I kind of see myself more as a sort of Foo Fighters Green Day kind of person.
So Kaz B does not represent Karen?
No, it's quite, I don't know, I mean, at the moment I'm seeing the funny side of it, but by making up this fantasy version of me and sticking my photograph on the side of it, that it's done purely to take money from that person who's in a vulnerable situation already, because it takes a bit of guts to be open and say, here is who I am, are you interested in me? That's, you've got to be brave to do that anyway. And I really object, actually, the more I think about it, I really object to someone taking advantage with people like that for using my photo.
Kaz B's no longer on the site, but internet traffic to our BBC dating profile was hotting up. This time, James was matched with Danny 69, a widow from Glasgow. Are you who we think you are? It appears she's not in Glasgow at all, not even in the UK. She's called Julie McCrossan. Well, that's bizarre. It says Julie McCrossan is from Australia. We discovered that Julie McCrossan was actually a broadcaster who has a long-term partner. She told us she's never used a dating website. Yet another fake profile trying to entice us into the Cupid website, and like the others, didn't appear to be the work of scammers. While the BBC's profile was receiving attention from fakes, Clark, who's a tailor in South Glasgow, was also testing Cupid's website. Would he have better luck? This woman, Danny 69.
Yes, I sent her an email on the 16th of June, yes, but I haven't received anything back from her. Same age as myself.
Yeah, he lives in Glasgow.
Glasgow, 6.56 miles away from where I am, so...
Well, I've got some news for you, actually. She's not 6.6 miles away. We've come across Danny 69 before. In fact, that photograph belongs to a broadcaster in Australia.
In Australia? That makes me wonder how many of the other ones are fake as well.
Clark has tried to email another woman from Glasgow. Does she look familiar?
She's very attractive, isn't she?
She's very attractive. Do you know who she is?
No, I don't.
That's an old photo of Michelle Pfeiffer.
Michelle Pfeiffer?
You're aiming high, Clark.
I do feel caught now. Here I am sending emails to Michelle Pfeiffer, hoping for a response. Well, it's all very fake and all. So no, it hasn't been a good experience.
A pattern of deceit seems to be emerging. Messages apparently from real people, but sent without their knowledge. Profiles which are partly real but partly fake. Others which are totally bogus. All of them are abusing someone's image to feign interest in our daters. We got in touch with Cupid. They said with regards to our online profile James that there was contact from genuine users. As to contacts falling off after subscribing, they said,
when customers become subscribers, we promote them less broadly on the website to focus their attention on key messages.
On fake profiles, they said,
considering the industry-wide problems with scammers, it is likely that this is the cause. Cupid expends significant effort to combat scammers.
I'd been given some information about Cupid that led me to Eastern Europe. Although Cupid's headquarters are in Edinburgh, the bulk of its work is done here in Ukraine. Its office is tucked away behind a high fence. I got in touch with someone who had gone beyond the security that protects Cupid plc. Svetlana Tuchinska, a journalist at the Kiev Post, has investigated the company. She went undercover and applied for a job as something called a motivation manager. What she tells me suggests it was something more than scammers at work on Cupid's sites.
I was interviewed by a girl who was part of the recruitment team. She told me that the job is to communicate with customers of the websites. She became more specific and she said that we have to talk to them pretending to be people from their cities or their district so that they would be interested in prolonging their membership and paying further to the company. You are told openly at a job interview that your job is to fool people, to give them hope, to give them hope that somebody is interested in them, in their district, in their city. Somebody is talking to you, somebody is interested, but then you just, after these 3 days, you just stop talking to the person. And so obviously the person would be very disappointed and not understanding what has happened.
Is there any way that you could have got this wrong?
No. There is no way I could have got it wrong because I spoke to the company recruiters who explained me the job. How can I be wrong? There is no way I can be wrong.
And do you have evidence?
Yes, I do. We are ready to go to Ukrainian court, British court, anywhere in the world, and we can prove it.
When we contacted Cupid for an interview, they declined, but they told us Svetlana's allegations were wholly incorrect. They said a review earlier this month by their auditors KPMG found
no evidence of a company-organised practice of staff enticing registered members to subscribe through use of fake profiles.
Cupid explained that staff profiles do exist and that the review found employees on the sites were not clearly identifiable to users. Cupid says it's now replaced the motivation teams with dating advisors, which will be strictly monitored.
The vibe at Global Personals is one of people that work very, very hard but like to have a great time as well.
Another huge player in the online dating game is Global Personals.
We work really hard to make sure we recruit the right types of people that fit in with the culture. Culture is very important for us here.
Responsible for running more than 10,000 dating sites, it boasts over 33,000 new members every day. I'd heard from someone who worked there as a senior project manager. Gus Goodall was initially enamoured with the company.
It was a fun environment. We used to have table football, there was always an Xbox on, the fridge was always full, you could help yourself to. It really was a nice company to work for.
But the fun didn't last when Gus found out how the company was making much of its money. It was paying its own staff to create fake profiles or pseudos to con customers into thinking they were talking to other genuine online daters.
Just having a chat one day and looking over someone's shoulder and then seeing that they had a profile picture up that wasn't them, that they were chatting away and messaging people, and obviously asked the question, what's that? And they went, it's a pseudo. And I never knew what a pseudo was, and I was horrified, and I actually think I got laughed at. And they went, now, how do you think it works? Came home, told my family about it, and they were like, whoa, really? I don't think people believed it, really. They were like, no, you must be wrong. And I'm like, I'm not wrong. I'm just not wrong.
Gus says he resigned on principle. Ryan Pitcher also worked for Global Personals. He ran what he calls the pseudo team.
What we'll do is we'll create the profiles at the front end. We'll steal someone's identity through, say, MySpace or something. Would take someone from a totally different country, so i.e. Spain or wherever it may be. We'll take those person's photos from online, and then we'll start knocking out messages, etc. It was all fake and under the pretense that it was real.
So if I was a guy and was genuinely looking for somebody to go on a date with, excited because I've got this good-looking girl talking to me, but actually I'm talking to Ryan?
Yeah. You'd be amazed that a lot of the guys, or even women, were chatting to just pseudo profiles.
The company was emerging as one of the biggest players in online dating, making millions each year. But what was going on was kept under wraps.
It was only once they'd got the job role and signed their confidentiality agreement, etc., that they were told about what's actually going on, if it's going to be a problem with it. You're not just talking about a few grand here, you're talking millions upon millions of pounds have been made through pseudo-profiling and fake messaging. So be in a marketplace where you've got so much competition, if you didn't have pseudo-profiling and fake messaging, you wouldn't make any money.
So you've got to con people for the business to survive.
At the end of the day, that's what you were paid to do, ultimately, and the bosses weren't really that bothered about how immoral it was. It was just, I would say, all about driving profits and revenue.
Gus Goodall says he's been assured the company no longer use pseudos. We decided to test its sites for fakes. Global Personals has a dating website called Flirt Naughty. We searched for women within 5 miles of a place called Hoggery in the Western Isles. According to the website, there are 198 women there, all looking for casual dates on just one of Global Personal's sites. Before you think of moving to the Western Isles for the dating scene, the numbers don't stack up. This is Hoggery. Fewer than 100 people live within 5 miles of this tiny hamlet. Global Personals blamed our findings on scammers from North America. They said their technical systems allocate customers from there to the nearest inhabited location in the UK, which happens to be North Uist. They added,
Global Personals takes the challenge of scammers incredibly seriously and continually invests in ensuring we have the highest quality database, the best user experience and the safest environment for our customers. We strive to be leaders within our industry, calling for a unified online dating regulating body.
They thanked us for raising the North Uist issue and said an internal investigation will take place, and they'll be blocking customers with non-UK IP addresses from joining their British sites. The company have said they no longer use pseudo profiles. Global Personals declined to speak on camera, but this company would. Christian Filipina Dating, a worldwide business, campaigns against bad practice in the industry.
The internet is a very wild place. It really is a wild west. And there's not enough people in the government to carefully track the kinds of crime that can go on over the internet.
He says fake profiles and fraud are widespread, and elements of the industry have become untouchable.
Inside the data industry, there's almost an attitude of invincibility. Executives tend to believe that they will not be suffering from anything more than a small fine, if anything. In many cases, just ripping people off and breaking their hearts.
It was all supposed to be about finding people happiness. But when you're lucky enough to meet a match online, that means too fewer paying customers for the dating sites. So clearly, if they want people to keep signing up and paying up, they need plenty of profiles to tempt you in. We have found websites which bulk sell millions of profiles to online dating companies. And one of them is registered right here in the UK. I bought 10,000 UK online dating profiles from UsDate. In minutes, I had photographs and list after list of names, email addresses, dates of birth, sexual orientation, and more. Hundreds had Scottish addresses. This is unbelievable. This information is really private. Surely I shouldn't be able to buy it without their permission. But I can, and I tracked down some of the people whose information I'd bought. Some photos and personal information had been taken from social networking sites. Not one of those we contacted knew their data was for sale. This one was typical, an actor called Nick Barker Pendry. His images were taken straight off the internet. Other profiles came with photos of Brad Pitt, Michael Caine and the TV chef Rick Stein. On some, the email addresses were genuine, but there was something even more concerning. Finding out your photos and really personal information has been sold feels really creepy. But this feels even worse. We've been sold photos for use on a dating website, photos of children. Included in the profiles were images of hundreds of children, babies, toddlers, and girls too young to date online. I'd also found someone in the profiles who appeared to be from Scotland. The man in the photograph was Gerald Masterson from Glasgow.
Hello, Gerald. I'm Fiona from the BBC. Very nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you. Want to come in?
Thank you.
He told us most of the information was true, but the email attached to his UsDate profile was false. He tried online dating a few years ago, but he says he's never given his permission for his information to be sold. In the information we bought, this photo came up. How does it make you feel that we have bought this information about you?
I am angry and feel they're taking my identity.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how angry do you feel about it?
10. Well, I never thought of anything like this, but I feel it's just money-making scam.
For Gerald, this is all very real, but anyone trying to get in touch with him on dating sites would discover his profile is fake. So who is behind UsDate? He calls himself Edgar's Appellees. Mr. Appellees is an international man of intrigue, a man who holds personal information on millions of people, yet only has scant details about himself on the internet. We had a suspicion he might be in the Dominican Republic. He agreed to speak to me on Skype. Given the seriousness of what we'd found, I was allowed to secretly record the conversation.
How many profiles do you sell a year?
Millions, of course. We have more than 10 million profiles right now. And
And
dating business is very popular.
you're saying that all the information that you're selling is with the permission?
Yes, of course.
What you're saying is not true, Mr. Appelese. You have even sent images of children.
No. Only adults.
The people whose information you have sold to us, some of them have said that they did not give consent and they do not want to be on a dating website. They feel like their identities have been stolen.
It's not possible.
These profiles are fake, Mr. Appelese.
Fake? No, all profiles is real.
That's not true, Mr. Appelese. We have people who have told us they have never joined a dating website.
This is not possible.
Do you think you're above the law, Mr. Appelese? He's disconnected. He's the man who sold us these profiles, yet he denies there's any possibility that they haven't given their consent, and he claims he didn't sell us pictures of children.
Edgar's Appelese didn't want to hear any more of our evidence, but there's someone who did want to know what we'd uncovered. The Information Commissioner's Office is a public body, responsible for ensuring companies protect your private data. I brought our findings on UsDate with me.
This is sensitive personal data. I'm very concerned to see that these lists are being sold on. You've got details about the individual's sexuality. If we're talking about significant numbers of names, well, that's a significant breach of the data protection principles, potentially.
I showed him what we'd found on Cupid sites with Danny69 and Kaz-B.
It's appalling, isn't it? If it were you, how would you feel to see your image against a completely different set of personal details? Personally, I'd be very upset about it, and I'm not surprised at all that she felt the same way. What concerns me more than anything is the volume, the scale of this. It's not just an odd incident. It seems to me, from what I've seen, that this is something that's done as a matter of course. It seems almost to be a matter of routine, and that gives me even greater cause for concern. You're supposed to keep the information accurate. This is not accurate information, and that's definitely something that we'll be looking at from the Information Commissioner's Office.
Back in Glasgow, it's a big night for Clark and Jane. They've joined a singles club where they're guaranteed to meet real people.
You portray yourself honestly. That's the important thing, rather than making yourself out to be something that you're not.
I think it is the future. If you're not online dating, well, why aren't you? Yes, definitely the future. It's not going to go away.
Perhaps love will blossom for them after all.
Whilst online dating can find people their perfect partner, there's less romantic, perhaps even illegal activity going on behind the screens. And there's a chance that your photos and personal information are for sale and that your date may be fake.
Tainted love.